So in the previous video, I shared with you some similarities of somebody with schizophrenia, what they would go through, and before their psychosis episodes. Here, and also I also shared with you my development and my problems that could be very easily mistaken as one way or the other. Very similar behaviors, but not exact. In the previous video, this guy had more friends, was very popular, had a lot of, typical development. Me, I had more communication, social skill problems that led me not having friends and odd behaviors. And then the issues with the bus and the peers in school and my teachers, and then had other issues with going on to other things in school, and then work, and then school had a lot of influence in what happened with my end of my schooling. Here, I'm going to share with you, I don't have any of these symptoms at all. I like to get up to close my bathroom door because the sun is bothering me. The sun in my room at the sun angle at this time of day, it drives me nuts. It not only shines in the bathroom window, but then at the angle it shines in it reflects off the mirror in my bathroom and just causes me an issue with my sensory problem. And I love sunshine. And after this video, I plan on going for a little walk. It's a beautiful day. So, in this video, this guy has experienced some things that are way odd and way different than what I have. And I want to start off by word or part by part and explain to you the difference, what I go through versus what he's going through.
When I was 20, I started getting messages from the TV and radio about different things that were happening in my life. Like,
I never had TVs or radios messaging anything to me. I don't watch much TV, but I listen to a lot of radio. When I do watch TV, I watch the Weather Channel or the news stories or hockey. That's pretty much it. I do watch The Good Doctor, even though I really don't like watching me struggle. Like, I have potential to be like a good doctor, but it's struggling for me. I do like Young Sheldon. I do like The Rookie. In For Life, I kind of find interesting. Few other TV shows I find interesting, but it's always the same old TV shows I watch. I have a hard time with changes, but I don't have issues like this. It gets confusing to me. If I ever had issues like this, I know it's time to check in the hospital before anything happens, but I don't have these issues.
they would talk about something that was happening to me or that had happened to me that I felt insecure about. It would have some sort of deep connection to me, these messages from the radio, and I started noticing that it was telling me things like I should go somewhere, I should do something. I knew that these messages were a sign that I was somebody extremely important, because why else would they be broadcasting to me personally? So I knew I had to go on this mission to save the world or do some great
This is totally not me.
thing, you know. So that night I left without telling anybody. I flew out to New York planning to go to the UN, because during this whole time I had this running dialogue in my head about where I should go, what I should do, what I was meant for. And it seemed pretty clear that I would have to get on the world stage, the United Nations stage, instead of the US. And everything that happened along this journey was...
There was a key point here I want to share with you.
This whole time, I had this running dialogue in my head about where I should go, what I should do, what I was meant for. And it seemed pretty clear that I would have to get on the world stage, the United Nations stage, instead of the US. And everything that
See how bizarre that thinking is? I don't have issues like this.
happened along this journey was significant somehow. I would make the connection in my brain that the name of the cab driver, the name of the cab company was significant to the mission, or that had some underlying message that I had to follow.
First of all, I have trouble remembering cab company names. I prefer Liberty Yellow because that seemed like the only company that really I was not afraid of how they were driving. By the way, that was the reason why I choose Liberty Yellow. But I don't care. Any other cab company drives me home. There's so many good people. Even Uber drivers are good. I have trouble remembering people's names, though. I remember people's tone of voice, though. That's what happened with... I remember my last Medicaid cab ride for that Liberty Yellow lady who, by the way, I wouldn't mind riding with her. She's very nice. But the issue was, she has a car, and I prefer getting out of an SUV or a minivan. And then I think I did have her number before, and one other guy that was in a car as well, to be like my dedicated cab drivers, but I prefer being in a minivan, and I don't know anybody in those vans because of my knee injury, but I don't care who drives me. I have trouble remembering their names. I can remember their tone of voice like the lady, though.
Oh, I was questioning myself the entire time. This whole mission just seemed ridiculous to anybody who would see it or who would look in from the outside. But, like, I knew that these things were real. Like, I knew that these indications meant something. I go to the UN, and it's a Saturday, so of course the UN is closed. And so I'm just walking around New York aimlessly, trying to find a place where I can sleep or just find the next clue that will lead me to where I have to be. I was following these colors and following these signs, and...
First of all, crossing streets is a safety issue for me. Second of all, why does clues or colors or signs really mean anything? I do like looking at signs and numbers and letters on the signs, but that has nothing to do with anything. I see a number, I like numbers.
Trying to find out, like, what was going on.
Patterns, too.
Finally, I said, screw it, I don't want to deal with this stuff anymore. So I decided to take a bus to Canada.
I like I like signs that have like 5 letters to them or 10 letters to them, because then I count them back and forth every time with each finger on each hand, or just one hand at it, when it's 5 numbers or letters. I don't know why I like doing that. It's like calming for me.
Because I wanted to get out of the box. So I went to the train station, and I looked on the destination board, and there was a destination called Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and I thought that was a pretty clear indication that was a hole through the woods to Canada. So I'm just walking on these back roads, and I'm just tired and exasperated, and I just want...
First of all, Massachusetts isn't even close to the Canadian border. That's a bizarre behavior there.
Out, so I stick my thumb out, and
of
course most people pass, but then this lady stops, and we started to talk about where I had been and like what I had been doing, and she took me in that night and made me dinner and let me sleep at her house, and in the morning she bought me a train ticket back home. So I get home, and my parents meet me at the train station, and I start going off about my mission and aliens and all this crazy stuff.
I talk about aliens just because I want schizophrenia, not autism. But I don't believe it. And people who know me at crisis services or my independent living center worker knows that I don't believe in it, and they say stop it right away.
And they look at each other and they're like, this is not good. And so they take me to the hospital, to the emergency room, and I sign the papers to go to the psych ward for a 72-hour hold because I thought I could just get out. And so I spent the next 7 or 8 days in the psych ward. There was some videos at the hospital that sort of explained what schizophrenia and bipolar were, and I noticed that I was displaying some of the behaviors as some of the people in the videos. So, I mean, that kind of hit home. Like, that was sort of heartbreaking to me because I thought that this whole thing had been a divine sort of calling for me. There were some tough conversations and some arguing and some crying in the hospital. And I think that's when we really first talked about what was happening.